Let's go live now to our team of reporters, beginning with 7 News Europe Bureau Chief Hugh Whitfeld, who is at Windsor Castle. Hugh, Prince Charles has made a last-minute visit to his mother, the Queen.
Matt, good morning. The Prince of Wales drove over from his home at Highgrove in Gloucestershire. It's about a 90-minute journey to spend part of the day here with the Queen following the Duke of Edinburgh's death in the early hours of Friday morning here in the UK. It follows a period of illness in the first part of this year. He'd been out of hospital for a couple of weeks after spending 4 weeks in 2 hospitals in central London. The expectation is that following Prince Philip's death here at Windsor Castle, his body will remain here. It will lie at rest. It will not lie in state. As we know, Prince Philip didn't like a fuss being made. There will be even less of a fuss made because of coronavirus restrictions. The expectation is that the funeral, whenever it is held, possibly next Saturday in St George's Chapel inside Windsor Castle, that it may very well be subject to the same coronavirus restrictions that everybody else in England has to submit to, and that means for funerals that just 30 mourners can attend. So some difficult decisions to be made for the royal family at a very private, very sad time for this family. Now, people here in Windsor have a special connection with the royals. There are usually tourists who would come here throughout the year in non-COVID times. They like to celebrate the good times like weddings, but this is a sad time and they have come together to mourn.
I kind of felt that I needed to be here to soak up the atmosphere, sort of closing off of a long story and a love story as well.
I think it's just really sad to hear of his passing.
99's a pretty good innings, but yeah, I think we all kind of knew it was maybe coming. It's just a shame he didn't reach the old 100.
Prince Philip's body will likely be buried in the grounds of Frogmore Gardens. That is a place inside the Windsor Castle walls where Philip and the Queen have liked to go out and go for a walk, often take the corgis out during their time in residence here at Windsor Castle. A remarkable love story that has now drawn to an end. 73 years of marriage, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, Prince Philip decamped from the farm where he was retired to on the Sandringham estate. He came here to Windsor Castle, many believing that they had never spent so much time together during that long marriage than during their time here during the pandemic, because they didn't have to worry about royal engagements or trips anywhere. They were able to spend some very good quality time here together.
Yeah, that's a lovely element, isn't it? Must be such a surreal time for the Queen right now there at Windsor Castle. 7 News Europe correspondent Sarah Greenoch is at Buckingham Palace. Now, Sarah, we understand that things are going to look very different to what a normal, if you like, royal funeral would be. There won't be any of the procession through the streets. How are people being encouraged to mark the passing of the Duke of Edinburgh?
Mon, good morning. You're right, and that's, I guess, very in keeping with how the past 12 months have been spent in this country. Nothing about this year has been normal, so people here are very used to changes. They would certainly like to be mourning the Duke of Edinburgh. They want to celebrate his life, but instead everything will be kept very, very low-key. The palace is trying to deter people from gathering outside royal residences like here at Buckingham Palace. They have actually formally requested that the public doesn't bring flowers, doesn't come in person to the palace, but instead either makes a donation to a charity or signs an online condolence book. Having said that, though, people felt compelled to come here today, and I imagine the same will happen tomorrow and for the next few days right up until his funeral. They say they just needed to show their support to the royal family and primarily to the Queen.
She's obviously a really strong woman, but I mean, he was her support for all those years, so I just don't know. It's just sad.
It's been such a difficult year anyway. Yeah, thoughts are really going out to her.
The British public is remembering Prince Philip in a number of different ways for his incredible service to both his country and to the Commonwealth. That has featured heavily on a lot of the cards and the messages that have been left here at Buckingham Palace, which was his office really for so much of his working life. He spent so much time here. They're also remembering him for his incredible humour. He was well known for making risque, sometimes controversial comments, which earned him a lot of headlines. He liked to liven up dull proceedings. He would say things like, "You're about to see the world's most experienced plaque unveiler at work, and you can only imagine in 22,000 solo engagements during his career just how many plaques he did unveil. He was a highly respected and admired man here in the UK who led the royal family through periods of upheaval, through very tumultuous times over the decades. There is also a lot of disappointment from the British public that he won't be celebrating his 100th birthday. That was a milestone that a lot of people here had sincerely hoped that he would reach, guys.
Yeah, 8 decades of public service. Little wonder he's had an impact on so many right around the world. And 7 News US correspondent Tim Lester is at Montecito, where Prince Harry and Meghan live. Tim, the President has joined Harry and Meghan in these running tributes.
Matt, indeed he has. In fact, a succession of former US presidents have all made statements this morning about their admiration for Prince Philip and their condolences for the Queen and her family. Joe Biden himself did not know Prince Philip personally, despite his time as Vice President and in foreign affairs, but he was quick to make a statement of condolence from the American people this morning. And he also spoke to reporters about his feelings towards Prince Philip and his observations in the Oval Office.
I think he's going to be missed, particularly in the United Kingdom. With 99 years old, he never slowed down at all, and which I admire the devil out of.
Prince Philip's connections with US presidents, in fact, go back. West Wing Reports here in the United States is telling the story today of right back in late 1963, then widowed Jackie Kennedy in the White House, First Lady, having just lost her husband John F. Kennedy to an assassination, was looking for her young son, John Jr. 3, and found him on the floor in the White House playing games with Prince Philip, who'd come over for the funeral. Apparently the young boy had asked where his father was, and Philip felt the need to play and entertain the boy for a while. His loss will be felt here in Montecito, the coastal town, in a similar sort of way as a grandfather and a great-grandfather. Of course, this the home of Harry and Meghan. They're now going through, no doubt, the logistics of getting to a funeral and the very decision as to whether they should go. Most who observe the royal family closely fully believe at least Harry will make that journey. He will have to confront the difficulties of the pandemic and getting into his home country, getting back into Great Britain in the days ahead if he is to make the occasion. Guys?
All right, thank you very much, Tim. Yes, we've heard quite a lot about him being such a paternal figure. He was heavily involved in his own children's lives, and in fact, the Queen sort of handed over responsibility to him to sort of run the family as she was running the Commonwealth and was going to be the head of 16 nations. So 7 News political reporter Taylor Aitken is in Canberra. Taylor, the Prime Minister has spoken directly to the Queen this morning. It was really quite moving.
It was, Mon and Matt, good morning. Speaking about, I guess, the enduring respect that Australians have for Prince Philip and the monarchy, he also expressed the Duke of Edinburgh's deep connection with the Australian people and also people right across the Commonwealth. He also expressed his thoughts and prayers for the Queen, who has, of course, lost her husband of 73 years. The Prime Minister has just arrived at the Governor-General's residence, where he is expected to sign the official condolence book along with wife Jenny. Now, Prince Philip, of course, is not a stranger to Australia. He has visited here a number of times, in excess of 30 times. 16 of those trips have been solo visits. The last time he was in Australia was in 2011 when he was alongside the Queen. The Prime Minister paying his respects to a man that many people in Australia thought they knew him personally.
There are many towering figures that the world has lost and known, but few have been before us in our lifetimes for such a long time. His presence and service are reassurance, a reminder of the stability we so often need in a world that can be so uncertain.
Prince Philip played such an important role as patron or president of more than 50 organisations here in Australia, most notably, of course, the Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme, a leadership scheme that many Australians, many high schoolers take part in as they work through their senior years of school. Nearly 250,000 Australians have been through that program over the 65 years it has been running. Now, Australians have been encouraged to log on to the PM&C website to pay their own condolences, and many have also been taking to social media to express their condolences but also their memories of Prince Philip. Now, there will be a number of church services expected around the country today and a 41-gun salute to honour Prince Philip at Parliament House later today.
Terrific. Thank you all to our wonderful team of reporters. Appreciate that. Talk to you again soon.